All right. Hey, how you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
Welcome.
Thank you.
What name do you prefer to go by?
Aries is fine.
All right, I'm Matt. Pleasure to meet you today. So let me start by asking you, what do you hope to get out of these sessions?
Well, I really just need someone to talk to. I'm kind of going through a lot right now. I just recently went through a divorce of like
Mhm.
20 years.
20 years.
Yeah. And my wife left me for some guy she had just met, but whatever. And so yeah. And I thought that it would be a good idea for me to become a foster dad. So I started like taking in kids just so that the house wasn't so empty. Because we had kids of our own, but they're grown and moved out. So
Okay, so would you say that you're basically trying to um, try to come up with a effective life strategy to support you and your kids?
yes.
All right. Well, before we go any further, I would like to just address some major points. For example, how the system's going to work, how these meetings work, and things like that. So, to start, I just like to address confidentiality with you.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what confidentiality is?
A little bit. Isn't that like whatever you say can't leave this room?
Yeah, that's a very good way of putting it. So basically, whatever we say is just going to stay between you and me, and you don't have to worry about any of your personal information being shared. And I don't share it with any of my supervisors or anything either. Now, I am a mandated reporter, and that basically means that if there were to be an incident where there may be any abuse, neglect, or self harm or harm to others, then I would have to report those details or those specifics to my supervisors. But unless, if it's not any of those specific examples, then we have full confidentiality and you don't have to worry about any of your information leaving this room or between us. And this is going to be a professional relationship. So we can't exactly be best friends hanging out all the time outside, going to parties or anything. You know, it just has to stay professional, and I'm here to help you through your time of need, and that's basically my main focus. And so it's just important that we keep it to that level of appropriate professionalism.
Okay.
So do you have any questions as to how this process works or your confidentiality?
No.
All right, so then let me continue by asking you, um, how would you say your current circumstance is since your wife has left you after 20 years?
Well, right now I have like four foster kids, two boys and two girls. So I try to put my focus on them, but I still have resentment towards her and lots of unanswered questions of just like how we've been married for so long, how she up and left for some guy she just met. Like, does she not feel bad about doing that as a person, or any remorse or anything? She just up and did.
All right, and so how do you feel that might impact where you want to be?
I think it definitely has a negative impact because, let's see how I want to say this. I feel like my mind isn't necessarily where it should be because I'm so focused on her and what she's done to me.
Mm-hmm.
So
And how would you explain your goals for where you want to get to?
What do you mean in terms of like what I want to become or the goals concerning the situation with my wife?
Yeah, so like, where do you hope to be 5 years from now?
5 years from now, definitely hope to have gotten over the situation with my ex-wife, but also I hope to have fostered or have fostered like maybe 10, 15 foster kids.
10, 15
But
foster kids.
I
That's
just feel like it's a good way of giving back because, first of all, fostering takes a lot, especially when it's just you. But I feel like the kids need someone to not give up on them. So that's what keeps me wanting to keep feeding them.
And that's actually a great goal to have. And so, have you actually had lots of experience with children in the past?
Yes, so me and my wife raised three kids. They're all grown now. And my wife was in the process of starting a daycare, which me and her were going to start, but she took that idea with the new guy that she met. So,
And so, how confident do you feel
mhm.
regarding your ability to um, do your own daycare service or child support independently?
I feel somewhat confident because I'm more of the like hands-on dealing with the kids, but my wife was handling my ex-wife after he used to do, but she was handling the more administrative work of the whole process, which obviously takes two. Like you can't run a business without the administrative piece. So I don't know. I think it's doable, but I would have to either find someone to do the administrative side, or I would have to figure out how I was going to do it.
Hmm. And are there times you feel maybe your ex-wife may hinder your ability to support these children?
Yes. Because once I start thinking, like for example, let's say that I drive past a daycare and it could have been one of them my ex-wife had looked at or we had been to, and I started thinking of all the good times we had with them. Reminds me that she left. You know.
Yeah, I can only imagine what it would feel like having to compete against someone who you spent 20 years cooperating with. So let me ask you, with that experience with those children, has it ever been changed, or has your perception with these children been different since the divorce of your wife?
I don't know. I've always loved kids. Kids are joy of my world. So no, it hasn't really changed. I think if anything, it's kind of intensified because I feel like now I can relate to the kids in a sense that some of the kids have been left by their parents. So I know kind of what that feeling of being left behind is since my wife has been left up for 20 years.
All right. So so far what I'm getting is that, you and your wife have been together for 20 years, but then she left, but you still hold this great aspiration to support and start your daycare center, support different foster children, even though she may be a competitor these days, you may see her as a competition, you still have aspirations to support these kids, and you don't want that to be a hindrance.
I just feel like the kids shouldn't suffer from someone else's actions. Like my ex-wife didn't leave the kids; she left me, so I shouldn't. I shouldn't blame the kids for that. And I don't want to say explode, but like displace my aggression towards her on them because they don't deserve it
Hmm. And so I'd like to ask, how have your kids felt regarding the divorce?
at all. Well, they're all grown now, and two of them actually have their own kids, but they, I think, responded pretty well because they know that my ex-wife and I will still be parents to them. We taught them a long time ago that if anything were to happen between us for whatever reason, we would still be mom and dad to them regardless of the situation, which I think is good that we're able to co-parent. It just hurts sometimes because I'm used to her being there. So seeing her as someone else is like, wow. But she gave me three kids and I'm thankful for that. And my kids are taking things well, so it's not too bad.
That's great to hear. How would you explain your ability to support your kids in the time of that divorce?
I think that it was sometimes difficult, but at the same time, it was definitely easier that they were grown kids because I feel like having a conversation like that with a younger kid is not really, I don't want to say ideal, but it would be harder just because younger kids, there's not a right way you can tell a younger kid like their mom or dad is leaving, or you know what I mean, or they're going to start another family, or it's just kids or some kids are not ready for that. So I think the fact that they're older and kind of understood life. And two of them had kids of their own. It was easier to be there for them.
And regarding the children and the wife and all things, would you say that you feel successful helping your kids through that time?
Yes, I do. They're very successful, actually. My kids have still been able to continue on with their lives. My last daughter is actually pregnant now, so that's good. But they have been able to finish school. They all have their degrees. They're all living on their own, So I have no, I don't regret meeting my wife or anything. I just regret the situation that I've been put in with her leaving.
Right.
Because after all, she did give me 3 kids, and we had a pretty nice marriage. It just, I don't know where she decided to leave. So.
Well, that's not exactly a bad mindset to have either. So I'd like to start asking a little bit more about how would you explain the steps that you've taken towards starting your daycare service?
Well, so far, the main thing I've done is I've looked around at potential buildings or places to start a daycare. I haven't done too much because, like I said, my ex-wife and I were looking for all this stuff before she left, so we didn't really get too deep into it. But I have found, I think, like 5 different places that I might be able to start a daycare with, and they're pretty nice, and they're not super expensive, and they won't need much like remodel or anything, so that's good. But that's about it.
All right, and how would you explain your abilities to really get this started? Would you say that you have developed all the skills necessary? How would you explain where you're at right now?
I think right now I definitely have the people skill of it. Like I will be able to relate to the kids and talk to parents or whatever. But I think that my administrative side definitely needs some work because I feel like I have the ability to learn it. I just haven't learned it yet.
Mm-hmm. And how would you have you ever had a support system to help you with maybe that administrative side of things?
You know what? I don't know actually. I know so I have 2 brothers, but they were always more into like art and that type of thing. So I don't know if they. And then my ex-wife's family, I don't really feel comfortable going to talk to them to get any help with anything.
Mm-hmm. So you mentioned your brothers and things. So how would you explain that support system regarding your side of the family?
Well, me and my brothers are really close. We've always been super close. I'm the youngest, so of course they always say I'm spoiled, which I don't think I am. But so we've always had that open relationship with one another. They were pretty upset about my wife leaving, my ex-wife leaving, but they have been very supportive and just trying to get me back on my feet and get back up in the swing of things.
Well, that's a great support system. And have you ever participated in daycares, or how would you say your past experience with children daycares have built you to this point?
Well, all 3 of my daughters were in a daycare, of course, when they were younger. And it wasn't really the best daycare, so I knew from that point on that I wanted to do something more, or not necessarily more, but something different when it comes to daycares. But I feel like a lot of the daycares were people just going to get a check. You know what I mean? They were just working there because they were getting paid to do it. But I personally think if you're working with kids and you're around them that much, like you should have some level of you like kids just because you're around them. And kids can sense if someone's like them or if they don't like them or if they're just there just to be there.
Mm-hmm. And I get the feeling that with the 3 kids you and your wife have raised, that you feel very connected to kids easily. You're able to understand a little bit about them, and you're able to have that intimate connection with kids better because you have raised 3 of your own. Is that accurate?
Yes.
So I'd like to go a little bit more into um, how your side of the family has supported this, and do they have aspirations in helping you with this idea, or have you kind of had your own independent nature regarding starting this project?
Well, I know my brothers and our parents, they would love to help, but they're all just so busy. My brothers are trying to raise families, and my parents are they're getting a little old, so they've retired. So I don't know. I guess I just don't want to feel like, I don't want to say a burden, but I don't want to feel like a obstacle in asking them, because I'm sure they would love to help, but I know they all have stuff that they're doing. So
Hmm. And um, going back to how you stated that you were still having a hard time getting over the divorce of your ex, how it still feels pretty fresh to you. So how would you explain the ways with which maybe starting this project could help you overcome this rougher period? How would you explain the ways it could improve your circumstance?
starting the project of opening a daycare,
Correct.
I think it would help because I would be able to know that I'm making a change in kids' lives, and it came solely from me. You know what I mean? Like I built the daycare, I hired the workers and everything, and I could walk away from work every day knowing like I made a difference, which I think would like over what's the word I'm looking for? I think that would outweigh the fact that my ex-wife left and everything.
So would it be accurate to say that um, any conflictions you have felt with your wife, you can find solace in the children around you?
Yes. It might be hard, but I think I can do it.
All right. Well, it seems like you seem very motivated. I really like that you are inspired to really start this project, and I feel this would be actually a great spot to end for today. And right now, I really do like where you're going. You have a set direction, it seems, though you may need some extra support in areas like administration, like you said. You may need some extra support in certain areas that you may not have as much experience in. But it seems right now you seem very motivated, you seem driven, and that connection with your kids and the children around you seems to be the best support system right now to help you getting over this divorce with your wife being so recent.
Right.
And as you stated more than once, that it's still rough on you right now. And so I'm actually quite glad that you have a support system like all the children around you. And I feel like one thing I would like for you to think about or to have prepared for the next meeting is maybe look for certain connections or maybe jot down a list of support systems that would be able to help you with that administrative side, kind of get you to look at um, ways with which you can find systems to help you with areas you may not be as advanced in. And it would also be a great effective way to keep you going ahead on this inspiration of yours. So I feel that'd be a great start for you. And you're very motivated, like I said. So I know that you would probably feel very confident going ahead with this project. Is that correct?
Yes.
So I feel like that'd be a great step for you to consider. It was great talking with you today.
Thank you.
All right. And how about we schedule our next session, same time, Thursday next week?
I think that works. Same place.
Same place?
Sweet.
All right.
See you then.
Great to see you then.